Welcome to this video. This is a short introduction to the concept of algorithmic governance. Algorithms are processes or procedures based on rules, which are executed by a computer and can be particularly complex. Depending on the type of algorithm, these rules can be pre-given by humans or are defined by the algorithm itself, autonomously using a dataset to learn of. The term governance can be defined as the coordination between actors based on rules. Governance includes not only intentional and goal-directed coordination, but also unintentional coordination. Algorithmic governance is an abstract concept, which states that digital technologies produce and influence social order. This social ordering relies on coordination and communication between certain actors. The discussion of algorithmic governance is closely related and overlapping with datafication and artificial intelligence, as these are the digital technologies which affect the social order. How do digital technologies affect the social order? Digital technologies are used to solve specific social problems, for example, detect contested content, deviant behavior, and preferences or opinions. Usually, algorithms are used to detect patterns in data, for example, translating social context into computable processes to classify subjects and objects both into general categories as well as into specific dimensions such as psychometric types, emotional states, creditworthiness, or political preferences. Governments use these technologies to automate state service delivery and administrative decision-making. Algorithms in this governmental context are used to increase the efficiency and efficacy of state services, for example, by rationalizing bureaucratic decision-making, by targeting information and interventions to precise profiles, or by choosing the best available policy options. For example, by automatically reviewing a tax declaration and determining the eligibility of a tax refund within seconds and without any human effort. The grounds for many projects of digital service provision and algorithm-based policy choice are systems of rating, scoring, and predicting citizen behavior, preference, and opinion. These are used for the allocation of social benefits, to combat tax evasion and fraud, to inform jurisdiction, policing and terrorism prevention, border control, and migration management. Corporations, search engines, and social media platforms transform information. By organizing and structuring information, platforms prioritize certain types of content, thus selecting what topics are being discussed and consequently influencing debates in society. Furthermore, with growing political pressure, corporations use algorithms to regulate content on their platforms by blocking or filtering speech like hate speech and misinformation, videos and photos that are deemed unacceptable or unlawful. Algorithms that are used to rate and score individuals are not only applied by governments but also by corporations to determine the credit score and to define target groups by classifying individuals. Algorithms shape markets and social classes by ultimately deciding who is eligible as a customer regarding credit scores and who is targeted as a possible customer. Power relations are reconfigured by algorithms, often to the detriment of the poor and underscored. But not only customers are subject to digital technologies of corporations, also their employees are faced with the digital transformation of work by new types of jobs and a changing work environment. Algorithms are used to manage and supervise workers with implication to workers' income, autonomy, well-being, rights, and social security, Thus, technologies have a strong impact on social security. There are also positive influences of digital technologies on the social order, which facilitate decentralized coordination and participation. Algorithmic governance offers new opportunities for participation, social inclusiveness, diversity, and democratic responsiveness. Online participation tools can improve the participation in political debates, such as electronic elections and petitions, social media communication, and legislative crowdsourcing. In addition, countless algorithmic tools are being developed with the explicit aim to hear more voices and to improve the relationship between users and platforms, or citizens and political elites. Controversies, concerns, and algorithmic governance in operation. With the trend of datafication and the increasing capability of digital technologies to analyze data and predict behavior, there are major controversies regarding the impact on the social order. Datafication and surveillance. Digital technologies such as big data and algorithms enable governments to surveil entire populations and to create detailed profiles about individuals on the basis of the datafication trend. This creates numerous opportunities for social sorting, discrimination, state oppression, and the manipulation of consumers and citizens. Consequently, civil and human rights are in danger, such as privacy and freedom of speech. Agency and autonomy. The ubiquity of algorithms as governance tools has created concerns about the effects on human agency and autonomy. The claim that humans make independent decisions is compromised by the omnipresence of digital technology with different impacts. For example, some algorithms nowadays make decisions without human interaction, but with an impact on the lives of many humans. This interaction between human and machine agents is complex and needs differentiation with a case-by-case evaluation. Earlier approaches perceived that the human and machine agent relation is either augmenting or reducing human agency, which dichotomy does not hold for in-depth analysis of the realities of human-computer interaction. Transparency and opacity. Algorithms are often called black boxes, meaning that the algorithm is opaque and challenging to understand for consumers and citizens. Thus, civil society calls for more transparency. Absolute transparency, however, is often not possible, for example due to the algorithm technique, nor desirable. For example, with algorithms that are security-related and also not really the solution to most problems, such as fairness, manipulation, civility, etc. Depoliticization and repoliticization. Algorithms have often been criticized as depoliticizing due to their aura of objectivity and truth, and their promise to solve problems of social complexity by the sheer size of data and increased computing power. Studies emphasize, however, that algorithms are not as objective and neutral as widely thought, showing that algorithms have replicated what was ubiquitous in society, such as social inequality, unfairness, and discrimination. This realization led to a repoliticization of governance and decision-making in some areas. Bias and fairness. Algorithms routinely favor people and groups that are already privileged while discriminating against marginalized people. This is often caused by the circumstance that algorithms merely replicate and amplify prevalent biases and prejudices, inequalities and power structures. The current politicization of these issues can be considered an opportunity to think about how to bring more fairness into societies with automated systems in place. Let's apply this to two examples for algorithmic governance in the public and private sector. First, predictive policing. Police authorities employ algorithmic governance by combining and analyzing various data sources to assess crime risk and prevent crime like burglary, car theft, violent assault, etc. This risk analysis addresses either individuals or geographic areas. Some systems focus on perpetrators, others on potential victims. The results are predictions of risk that are mobilized to guide policing. Typical actions are to assign increased police presence to geographic areas, to surveil potential perpetrators, or to warn potential victims. Predictive policing is a security-related field where transparency on the data and algorithm is undesirable. Thus, this is a trust-based system where the public is unable to review the algorithm for any concerns. The second example I want to share in this video is automated content moderation on social media platforms. The amount of content on social media platforms is so massive that it is hard for humans to cope manually with the review of the content. But especially due to hate speech, misinformation and copyright issues, political pressure towards stricter reviews grew in the recent past. Platforms therefore apply artificial intelligence and algorithms. Most systems, depending on the respective platform, are not fully automated, requiring humans to ultimately decide whether content should be removed. The two following case studies show that there is no right technical solution to deal with the mass of information from social media platforms at the moment. The fully automated system of YouTube overblocked and unintentionally removed content that should not have been removed. This led to a lot of criticism from end users, especially due to the lack of transparency to decide why content was removed. In contrast, Facebook discloses the moderation process and underlying decision criteria, but remains secretive about specifics of the process. Thank you for listening to today's Global Classroom lecture on algorithmic governance.